My boss was a nightmare, so I got her canned. Fluorescent lights of the office always seemed a little too bright, but they became unbearable when Brenda arrived. Before her, the marketing department felt, well, normal. We had our deadlines, our quirks, our inside jokes. I was a marketing assistant, happy enough organizing campaigns, writing copy, and generally keeping things running smoothly. I even enjoyed the occasional fire drill. It broke up the monotony. Then Brenda waltzed in, all power suits and pronouncements, declaring she was going to revolutionize our department. I should have known then. Revolution usually means someone getting their head chopped off. In this case, metaphorically speaking, mine. The first week was okay. She asked questions, observed, seemed genuinely interested. I even thought maybe this won't be so bad. I was wrong, so wrong. It started subtly, nitpicking emails, questioning font choices, asking for the same reports multiple times, phrased slightly differently each time. Just making sure you're thorough, Sarah, she'd say, her voice dripping with a faux concern that made my teeth ache. Then the micromanaging went into overdrive. She'd stand behind me, breathing down my neck as I typed, pointing out every perceived flaw. Why did you choose that word, Sarah? It doesn't resonate with our target demographic. My target demographic was anyone who'd actually read the damn brochure at that point. Lunch breaks became a precious commodity. I'd escape to the park across the street, desperate for a few minutes of sanity, before returning to the Brenda-shaped vortex of anxiety. Things really started to unravel when she started taking credit for my ideas. I'd spent weeks researching and developing a new social media campaign, presenting it at a departmental meeting. Brenda barely acknowledged it. But the next day, during a presentation to Mr. Thompson, our CEO, she presented the same campaign as her own, basking in the praise while I sat there seething. I tried to tell myself it was a one-off. Maybe she just forgot who came up with the idea. But it happened again and again. Each time, a little piece of my soul chipped away. Then came the sabotage. Deadlines shifted without my knowledge. Important files vanished from shared drives. Key information was withheld, only to be revealed at the last minute, setting me up for failure. One time, I was tasked with creating a presentation for a major client. I'd worked on it for days, double-checking every detail. The morning of the presentation, I went to print the final version. The file was corrupted. Gone. Brenda, of course, offered her sympathies, but the look in her eyes told a different story. I had to scramble to recreate the presentation from memory, delivering a half-baked version that left the client unimpressed. The stress was eating me alive. I wasn't sleeping. I was constantly on edge, jumping at every phone ring, every email notification. My anxiety spiked to levels I didn't know existed. I started having panic attacks in the bathroom, gasping for air, convinced I was going to die. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't keep living like this. My first instinct was to go to HR. I scheduled a meeting with Jessica, the HR rep. I laid out everything: the micromanaging, the stolen credit, the sabotage. Jessica listened, nodding occasionally, but her expression remained impassive. Brenda is a new manager, Sarah, she said finally. She's probably just trying to establish herself. Maybe you're misinterpreting her intentions. Misinterpreting? I was drowning in a sea of her malicious intentions, but she's making my work life unbearable, I pleaded. It's affecting my health. Jessica sighed. I understand your concerns, Sarah, but without concrete evidence, there's not much I can do. Maybe try to have a conversation with Brenda. Clear the air. Clear the air. With a flamethrower, maybe. I left HR feeling defeated and utterly alone. The company, the place I had enjoyed working, felt like it was turning against me. But Jessica's words, concrete evidence, stuck with me. If HR wouldn't help without it, then I'd get it. I started documenting everything. Every email, every meeting, every interaction with Brenda. I kept a detailed log, noting dates, times, and specific instances of her abusive behavior. I screenshotted emails, saved voicemails, and even started recording meetings discreetly, of course. It was tedious and time-consuming, but I was determined. I was building a case, brick by painstaking brick. I confided in Emily, a colleague in the marketing department. Emily was always friendly and supportive, and I knew I could trust her. I told her everything, showing her the evidence I'd gathered. I knew something was going on, she said, her brow furrowed with concern. Brenda's been acting weird ever since she got here. She's been asking me to do things that don't make sense, and she always seems to be watching you. Emily agreed to be a witness, confirming that she'd observed Brenda's behavior firsthand. Having her on my side gave me a much-needed boost of confidence. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't imagining things. Brenda was a nightmare, and I had proof. As the weeks passed, Brenda's actions became increasingly erratic. She was snapping at clients, missing deadlines, and making bizarre decisions that jeopardized entire campaigns. Her personal life seemed to be falling apart too. I overheard her on the phone, arguing with her husband about something. The stress was clearly getting to her, and she was taking it out on everyone around her. David, a senior marketing manager, started noticing the shift in the department's atmosphere. He'd been out on leave when Brenda arrived, so he hadn't been around to witness her initial charm offensive. He was a good guy, fair and respected by everyone. I saw him observing Brenda during meetings, his expression thoughtful, almost concerned. Then came the disaster. A major marketing campaign, personally spearheaded by Brenda, completely flopped. It was supposed to be a cutting-edge, innovative campaign, but Brenda had ignored the advice of her team, insisting on her own vision. The result was a confusing, tone-deaf mess that alienated customers and cost the company a significant amount of money. The failure was the final straw. Mr. Thompson was furious. He called an emergency meeting of the marketing department, demanding answers. That's when I knew I had to act. I spent the entire night preparing my presentation. I compiled all the evidence. I'd gathered the emails, the meeting notes, the recordings, Emily's statement. I organized it into a clear, concise narrative, outlining Brenda's abusive behavior and demonstrating her incompetence. The next morning, I asked David if I could speak with him privately. I showed him my presentation, explaining everything that had happened over the past few months. David listened intently, his expression growing increasingly grim. I had my suspicions, he said finally, but I needed proof. This is damning. He offered to help me present the evidence to Mr. Thompson. Having David on my side was a game changer. His support gave me the courage to go through with it. We scheduled a meeting with Mr. Thompson for that afternoon. I was terrified. My hands were shaking, my heart was pounding, but I knew I couldn't back down. I walked into Mr. Thompson's office, David by my side. Brenda was already there, looking smug as if she knew she was in the clear. Mr. Thompson gestured for us to sit down. "David, Sarah, what is this about?" he asked, his voice stern. I took a deep breath and began. I laid out my case, presenting the evidence, explaining how Brenda had systematically undermined my work and created a hostile work environment. David chimed in, corroborating my claims and emphasizing the negative impact Brenda's actions had had on the department. Brenda sat there, her face growing redder and redder. She tried to interrupt, to deny the accusations, but I wouldn't let her. I had spent months preparing for this moment. I wasn't going to be silenced. When I finished, Mr. Thompson was silent for a long moment. He looked at Brenda, his expression unreadable. "Brenda," he said finally, "do you have anything to say?" Brenda launched into a tirade, accusing me of being insubordinate, of trying to sabotage her career. She claimed that everything I had presented was a lie, a fabrication. Mr. Thompson listened patiently, then held up his hand. "That's enough, Brenda," he said. "I've heard enough." He turned to me and David. "Thank you for bringing this to my attention," he said. "I assure you I will investigate this matter thoroughly." The next few days were agonizing. Mr. Thompson interviewed other employees, including Emily and even Mark, a timid graphic designer who had been too afraid to speak up before. Their testimonies confirmed my accusations. Brenda, sensing that the walls were closing in, became even more desperate. She tried to intimidate me, cornering me in the hallway, accusing me of betrayal. She even tried to bribe Emily, offering her a promotion if she would recant her statement. But it was too late. The truth was out. Finally, the day arrived. I was summoned to Mr. Thompson's office. Brenda was already there, looking pale and defeated. Mr. Thompson looked at Brenda. "After a thorough investigation," he said, "it has become clear that your conduct has been unacceptable. Your employment with this company is terminated, effective immediately." Brenda's face crumpled. She started to cry, pleading with Mr. Thompson to reconsider. But he was unmoved. She stormed out of the office, slamming the door behind her. Mr. Thompson turned to me. "Sarah," he said, "I want to thank you for your courage in coming forward. You did the right thing." He acknowledged my hard work and dedication, praising my contributions to the company. He also commended David for his leadership and support. The atmosphere in the office changed overnight. People were smiling again. They were collaborating, sharing ideas, and actually enjoying their work. The dark cloud that had hung over the marketing department had finally lifted. David took over as interim manager, and the department thrived under his leadership. He recognized my potential, giving me more responsibility and challenging me to grow. A few weeks later, I was called into Mr. Thompson's office again. This time, he had good news. "Sarah," he said, "we've been very impressed with your performance, especially in light of recent events. We believe you have the potential to be a valuable asset to this company. We'd like to offer you a promotion to marketing specialist." I was stunned. A promotion? After everything I had been through, I don't know what to say, I stammered. "Say yes," Mr. Thompson said, smiling. I did. Looking back, I realized that enduring Brenda's abuse was one of the most challenging experiences of my life. But it also taught me valuable lessons about standing up for myself, fighting for what's right, and never giving up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And now, sitting at my desk, the fluorescent lights didn't seem so bright anymore. In fact, they felt almost welcoming.